So, Dirk Kuyt, obviously former Feyenoord player, former Feyenoord youth team coach, he's been speaking about Arne Slot and Liverpool, but he's also been speaking about a couple of players that he thinks Liverpool should maybe keep an eye on from Feyenoord. This is what he says. There were two players in particular he'd like to see come to Liverpool, one of which was Orkan Koku, the Turkish midfielder who ended up being snapped up by Benfica. The individual in question that he's talking about now is Gertrude, vice captain of the club. He's 23 years of age and could represent a shrewd piece of business because he can play right across the back line. Now, I'm going to be entirely honest. I know absolutely nothing about Feyenoord. Nothing. Don't know anything about any of their players other than what I'm starting to read over the last couple of days. But he's not the only person linking us to Gertrude. But I know nothing about him, other than he's a versatile defender, according to this little piece. So, for me, look, I don't like the idea of going back to a club and bringing in players from a club where somebody just left, unless you're talking about a massive club. And also, one other reason why I don't think it's likely is one of the titles of tonight's stream. It looks as though he's not going to have much power over transfers. It looks like Arne Slot is coming in to be a coach and not a manager. So I guess I should probably explain the difference. I'm sure most of you know, but I try to cater to everybody. So the difference is, in the structure in modern football, especially in Europe, you get directors of football who are responsible for most of the footballing operations, responsible for the type of football played right throughout the football club from top to bottom, responsible for bringing in youth players, responsible for bringing in first team players as well. And then you have a coach, which will be Arne Slot in this instance, who comes in and takes care of first team duties, coaches the first team, picks the team, nobody interferes with him in that regard, but he doesn't have much of a sway, if any, over transfers. And I think this is completely reasonable. Jurgen Klopp would have been, I guess, what we think of in an old school kind of manager, like Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, where he would have big sway over the football club. He would have say over transfers, transfer policy, budgets, I guess he'd have a say on as well. But I think Jurgen earned that right before he came to Liverpool, and when he came to Liverpool, to ask for those type of responsibilities. But what we've seen since Michael Edwards left the club is a bit of a departure from the way Liverpool used to go about their transfer business and how we went about our extensions. Michael Edwards simply wouldn't have agreed to a lot of what we'd seen happen since. For instance, I don't think Michael Edwards would have signed Darwin Núñez, just as an example. We know that Jurgen Klopp and Michael Edwards have probably disagreed on a couple of other things, so it's no surprise to me that with Michael Edwards coming back to the club, but Richard Hughes coming in as sporting director, that Liverpool have looked to kind of keep with this modern trend of bringing in a coach. Now, what is the upside of that for a club like Liverpool? Well, if the coach doesn't work, and you end up having to remove the coach and bring in another one, the theory is that the system or the developmental part of the club doesn't change. The philosophy stays the same. Coach comes in, plays the style of football that Liverpool are looking to play right through from the under 18s, under 16s, all the way right up to the first team. So that's the philosophy. If the coach doesn't work, you can remove the coach, but the structure is protected. And that's a modern trend that you see a lot these days, particularly in Europe of football clubs. It's no surprise to me that with Jurgen departing, somebody who's obviously had a massive influence over the club for so long, that this is the kind of way Liverpool are looking to go. And I'm sure over the course of time, if Arne Slot is a success, Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes will start to give him more of a say in these type of things, or his words will carry more weight, I guess, in these type of conversations. So I think it's understandable, in all honesty, and that's what he is brought in to do at the moment. Coach the players and make sure that they go out there and perform. Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, Will Spearman, Dave Fallows, Barry Hunter, these guys will take care of the recruitment side of things. TAA66 said, is it just me who can't wait for a fresh start next season? I love Klopp, but can't wait to see what Arne Slot can do for us. I feel like it's the right time for the change. I'm just glad it isn't a decision that the club had to take. You know, I've said this a few times. Imagine Klopp wasn't intending on leaving or hadn't announced his intention to leave yet, and this season started to fall away the way it has. It'd be interesting to see what the reaction was. I still think, for me, I'd be saying give him more time, give him more money, but Jurgen made the decision himself, so I guess it was the easiest for everybody concerned that way. Sean, how are you, Sean? Sean McMahon said, I think a fresh point of view would be great. Kloppo's been fantastic, but I feel it's going stale. I think deep down I probably feel the same, mate. I probably feel the same. You know, it's horrible to say these things out loud, right? Because, you know, we all hold Jurgen in such high regard, but it does feel like Jurgen's made the decision for us, but it probably feels like some new instructions, some new words, some new encouragement, some new methods in the training ground, all these type of things probably will help. I hope. Klopp's an absolute legend, but I feel change coming is at the right time. Hopefully players who underperformed with Slot can get more out of them. Look, I definitely believe that we can get a lot of extra energy and mileage out of some of the players already at the club with a change of coaching methods, a change of instruction. And one of the things that I've been able to find out by looking into Arne Slot and his methods is that he does mix up training. He does have drills that are constantly changing to keep the players interested, to keep the players excited, to keep the players learning. So that side of it sounds good.